We all love surprises, right? When we go on a little trip, hiking trip, and come back to our basement flooded because it was snowing or because it was raining. Just something didn't work in the house, right? We love surprises.
Oh yeah, we just
Because I love surprises, lots of them, good or bad. Bring it on. Actually, don't bring it on. But this man, Alexander Fleming, he had one of the best surprises of all. Personally, I think, and I believe, that just this surprise was very interesting to really read up about. But first, before we get into his discovery and surprise from his vacation, we got to understand, or we got to learn a little bit about who Alexander Fleming was. He was born in Scotland 1881. His parents were farmers, so it's a really big surprise to me that he didn't grow up to be a farmer as well. At age 16, he got advice from his older brother, who was a doctor in London, to come join him in his studies at St. Mary's Hospital in 1901. And what his life was before his discovery is that he actually studied a lot on bacteria, and he was posted in World War One in the Royal Army Medical Corps, and he would really just study infections of war wounds on the soldiers and try to find a way to combat those infections. Because back then, without antibiotics, if you got like a cut on your thigh or on your arm, even above your eye, there wasn't really much we could do. We did not have anything to help fight that bacteria. Our body would try to fight it, but it would not be enough, and soon enough that leg or wherever that cut was would get really infected, either amputated or the person would just die. Most of the people that Alexander Fleming studied in World War One really just passed away in the hospital he studied at. Really, really sad stuff. So after the World War One studies, he wanted to find a way to combat bacteria, which was a really good purpose. And he had a lot of different ways to study this and try to experiment. Even accidentally he went to work with a runny nose, cold runny nose, and some of his snot actually went into one of the bacteria dishes that he was experimenting on. And he partially this happening, the mucus actually fought a little bit of the bacteria. Some of the bacteria died, proving his theory, but not all the way. The mucus was really not enough. It just killed some bacteria, not all of it, and then just the bacteria grew on the dish. And so after years of trying to study the just bodily fluids versus bacteria, he gave up on it. He wasn't really getting anywhere past a certain point. And then Alexander decided to go on a vacation with his wife, and he wasn't really a tidy up person. He would leave his lab really messy, like half-eaten sandwiches, banana peels, you name it. He was not really a clean bacteriologist study person. So he would often leave the windows open, and he left a lot of samples around his lab. And this was like not just a flat story building. It was multiple levels, and below him there was a lab that studied on fungus and mold. And he found when he came back, he found a Staphylococcus. This certain bacteria he was studying. Some of the fungus from the floor, the lab below him, would actually float up out of their windows and actually landed on one of the dishes that he was experimenting on. Which, when he came back, he saw that there was just mold on this one dish. He wanted to find out what it was because he doesn't remember having to do anything with mold. And he discovered that this mold was actually eating the bacteria. It was actually just confronting it head on and and actually did something. So he was very curious about how this happened, and he went down to the lab and found it was Penicillin notatum. Mold, and the mold grows under cold temperatures. That enables it to really grow. Here we have a timeline. This actually did help me. There's a lot of useful things you can learn about Alexander Fleming and his discovery of penicillin today. And when he announced that penicillin, this mold would actually eat the bacteria, no one really cared. Nope, it didn't get out for like about a year or two, until Ernest Chain and Howard Florey began their research from finding one of the books that Alexander Fleming has written, or his paperwork, his work. And they were really intrigued by it, so that's how this process kept on growing. And penicillin was first tested on mice, because we don't want to do human trials first thing, right? It's trial and error. And then it moved on to people once the mice were actually healthy after taking in some penicillin. So all surprises, good or bad, we can take them, really, unless they're really bad. What can you do, right? Everyone loves, or I love surprises, and I'm sure Alexander Fleming did too. Thank you.